Welcome to our channel, on which I share the unfolding of our homestead journey and the creative practices that fill up our lives. We live amidst the forest, not far from the Baltic Sea, on a piece of land we had befriended this past year. Our land is called Vibhema. We had a heavy period behind us, when my partner Jonas was quite intensely sick from an infection for most of July, which had slowed down the building, but also my creative practices. It was time for me to process the stress that had built up in my mind and body, and connect again to my inspiration that feeds my creativity as a printmaker. I made sketches and more sketches and scribbled down notes. The ideas for coming months started piling up on the white paper. The slower autumn and winter months that we are approaching will be a time to work on these. We had hoped to live in our little house by the beginning of winter, but that seemed a very distant possibility at this point. Jonas was still weak, and the first days out of hospital he had trouble with keeping his balance and still felt very tired. But also mentally, he didn't felt strong. It took him a lot of mental and physical power to slowly start again on the build. There was also a misplaced feeling of guilt for not being able to finish the house on time. He prepared a part of the wooden floor inside the house, so we had some space inside for when our reed bales got delivered to keep them dry. He also finished the top of the roof for the chicken coop, but he was clearly struggling inside his head. Meanwhile, we worked together on the fencing project for our chickens, preparing logs and trying to find a way to anchor them strongly in the earth. I also started the process of digging up plaster for the house out of the pond. We probably will make another pond at the back of the garden for finishing the house in springtime. We noticed that as part of the after effects of the meningitis, Jonas's brain was playing tricks with him, and his body got in some sort of panic mode. It started to become really stressful, as a part of his unconscious was suddenly opened up, where all his deepest fears had been deeply buried. He barely slept, his heartbeat was very rapid, and panic about all kinds of things arose. Needless to say, it was very stressful, and luckily we got help from friends and people we knew to support him emotionally and physically throughout this really awful week. After the heaviest days, luckily his parents decided to come visit and help us out. This was so helpful, as with their support and vicinity, Jonas managed to reconnect again with himself. Together we took some time visiting dramatic cliffs and sandy beaches, reconnecting to each other and to the landscapes around us. There is such a calming effect coming from the presence of the sea. Jonas's mom helped me to take care of the garden that had been a bit neglected. I harvested the first loading of pumpkins. These plants are really gigantic. This one is coming way above my head. These are cucumbers actually. The first days, Jonas and his dad worked together on the floor. So Jonas's dad, Werner, has been working on the electricity for some days, and now everything is done. The cables are all there and the light switches are all installed, so that's really great news. previous owner had left us a beautiful wooden table in the shed. It didn't serve much of a function there, and I decided it would be better bringing it outside.
Dat is de kant waar ik daar juist stond, dus je moet gewoon doorgaan. Ja, doorgaan. Ja. Je gaat nu behandelen. Laat ze zelf afpakken.
As part of tick prevention, it is time to take care of the high grasses in the areas we visit most frequently. This meant my first attempt sighting, something I will clearly have to practice to become better at.
Zo, geen goede timing hè?
Such a pleasure to go and collect produce every day in the garden and cook with the harvest. There was lots of sweet corn, zucchinis, tomatoes, string beans, carrots and fresh herbs to work with this time of year. Our chickens provided us with delicious eggs. And then a very exciting moment. Time for raising the first wall of our house. The bales are stacked on top of a wooden ladder filled with rock wool insulation. All bales are compacted in between the wooden structure inside the wall system. And then there are hazel branches that are hammered through the layers. The wall will need a good trim in the end to smoothen the surface before plastering.
Ja, oh.
Tweede stuk. Wat een actie.
The reed bales we got are not the best quality, and we cross our fingers it will work out fine. Jonas and Werner had so much fun working together, both being in their element. All holes are neatly filled with more reeds. We got a gift from visitors, a mushroom called chicken of the woods. Many people in Estonia have knowledge about how and where to gather edible mushrooms in the forest. This one did taste like chicken when we steamed and fried it. It was huge. On the final day we ended with finishing the chicken house.
So this is our little house for the chickens that I've made a couple of months ago. And now we have installed this automated sliding door, so it opens and closes at sunrises and sunsets. The dad of Jonas has made and programmed this little computer here to control this little door. So that's really interesting. So we can go, for example, away for a weekend and we don't have to worry about locking up our chickens at night to keep them safe from the predators.
The last evening we spent together, we visited our closest beach to observe a tradition that is present along the coastlines of the Baltic states on this day of the year, the Night of the Ancient Lights, where there are bonfires lit on the coast to invite and guide the seamen returning at the end of the summer. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.